Hey there, everybody, and welcome back to Film Studies as we continue to look at propaganda. The last couple of lessons we've looked at Nazi propaganda, but today we're going to come back to the good old US of A and see how we can make some pretty good propaganda movies, well, good being relative, but notable, let's say noteworthy propaganda movies ourselves. Today we are going to be talking about three films in one. We're going to be talking about a cult classic, a midnight movie, and an exploitation film called Reefer Madness, which was a propaganda film designed to educate parents about the dangers of their kids smoking marijuana. And it came out in 1936, right in the middle, if you'll remember, of the heyday of the production code, which had been going strong for about 2 years by this point, and was created in order to censor Hollywood and even promote an American way of life based on Roman Catholic theology. So what we're going to look at today and watch a couple ridiculous excerpts from is a film called Reefer Madness. It was also known at the time as Tell Your Children. That is a 1936 American exploitation film revolving around the tragic events that ensue when high school students are lured by pushers to try marijuana. All kinds of chaos breaks loose. There's a hit-and-run accident, manslaughter, suicide, rape, and descent into madness. The film was directed by Louis Gasnier and starred a cast composed of mostly unknown bit actors. It was originally financed by a church group and made under the title Tell Your Children. So this film, was a movie that was created so that parents would be able to be educated about the dangers of cannabis use, but it just really is just so terrible, it's actually quite funny. The film was intended to be shown to parents as a morality tale attempting to teach them about the dangers of cannabis use. However, soon after the film was shot, it was purchased by a producer named Dwayne Epsford, who recut the film for distribution on the exploitation film circuit. What is an exploitation film? An exploitation film is a type of movie that is promoted by exploiting often lurid subject matter. The term exploitation is common in film marketing, used for all types of films to mean promotion or advertising. Thus, films need something to, quote, exploit, such as a big star, special effects, sex, violence, romance, etc. An exploitation film, however, relies heavily on sensational advertising and broad or lurid overstatement of the issues depicted, regardless of the intrinsic quality of the movie. Very often, exploitation movies are of low quality in every sense, as in this one. This, however, is not always the case. Exploitation films sometimes attract critical attention and even cult followings, which we're going to talk about what those are momentarily. So here we are and see some, on the left there, a theatrical poster for Reefer Madness. It says there, marijuana, weed from the devil's garden. 1 moment of bliss equals a lifetime of regret. Hunting a thrill, they inhale the drag of concentrated sin. Wake up, America. Here's a roadside weed, fast becoming a national highway. The real public enemy number one. Such education exploitation films were common in the years following the adoption of a stricter version of the production code in 1934. The film did not gain an audience until it was rediscovered in the late 60s and early 70s and gained new life as a piece of unintentional comedy. Today, it's in the public domain of the United States and considered a cult classic. It inspired a musical satire which premiered off Broadway in 2001 and a Showtime film called Reefer Madness based on the musical. For this modern audience, the poor production values and overacting create an uproarious comedy. Distributing Reefer Madness to college campuses in the 1970s helped to bankroll the burgeoning film company called New Line Cinema. So, yeah, there is just all kinds of reason to laugh at this movie. It's just, it's pitiful. but it is a piece of propaganda that is so over the top that it has become a piece of unintentional comedy and is well known to a lot of movie buffs as just a I don't know, a silly a silly movie, for lack of a better way to put it. There's just all kinds of overacting and bad acting and other things. Today, Reefer Madness is considered to be a cult classic and one of the best examples of a midnight movie. Its fans enjoy the film for the same unintentionally campy production values that made it a hit in the 1970s. A cult classic is a film that has acquired a highly devoted but specific group of fans. Often, cult movies have failed to achieve fame outside of their small fan base. A really good example of a cult classic would be the Rocky Horror Picture Show, if you've ever seen that. A cult film is one that a lot of people don't necessarily enjoy, but has a small but very dedicated group of fans. The term midnight movie is rooted in the practice that emerged in the 1950s of local TV stations around the country airing low-budget genre films as late-night programming, often with a host delivering ironic asides. I can remember, and perhaps some of your parents can remember, back when I was growing up, the USA Network used to, on Friday evenings, broadcast a midnight movie. It was called USA Up All Night with a host by the name of Rhonda Shearer. And the movies they showed were terrible. And I can remember thinking, well, why are they showing these? And the host, Rhonda Shearer, was really pretty. And you kind of figure it out. What they're hoping is that people will tune in to see the host and not the movie itself. And, they'll be like, oh, let's wait till we see what happens next. We'll have to wait until the commercial break is over. So they weren't so much about the movies as they were the host sort of talking about what was going on in usually the really bad movies. So midnight movies that emerged in the 50s. Reefer Madness is a type of midnight movie that was shown by many of those hosts. So here we see the pushers, the drug dealers that are trying to get these high school kids addicted to marijuana. And, the movie goes to great lengths to try to educate parents. But it's just, like I said, guys, so over the top. Okay. All right, so now we're going to see the theatrical trailer from the film. And then I'm going to show you some of the a couple terribly awful but funny scenes from the movie itself.
These high school boys and girls are having a hop at the local soda fountain. Innocently they dance. Innocent of a new and deadly menace lurking behind closed doors. Marijuana, the burning weed with its roots in hell. In this film, you will see the ease with which this vicious plant can be grown in your neighbor's yard, rolled into harmless-looking cigarettes, hidden in an innocent shoe or watch case. In this startling film, you will see dopesters lure children to destruction.
We're going over to Joe's place. Why don't you come along?
We have a date to play a set of doubles.
Oh, you can play anytime. Come on, we'll have some laughs.
Can I go along with you?
Sure.
Hey, I'll see you at dinner, sis.
If you want a good smoke, try one of these.
You will meet Bill, who once took pride in his strong will as he takes the first step toward enslavement.
Of course, if you're afraid.
Smoking the soul-destroying reefer, they find a moment's pleasure, but at a terrible price. Debauchery, violence, murder, suicide. And the ultimate end of the marijuana addict. Hopeless insanity. See this important film now, before it is too late.
So I wanted you to see a couple ridiculous scenes from the movie. You just watched the trailer that are pretty amusing. So this guy is going out to get in a vehicle with a friend that has apparently been smoking marijuana, and just chaos ensues here.
Let's go, Jack. I'm red hot.
Better be careful how you drive it. The first thing you know, you'll be ice cold.
He's supposed to be just absolutely flying. Look at all the people going, my gosh, look how fast he's going. Look at the speedometer.
Slow down, you'll kill somebody.
45. He's burning up the road. Oh no! Ah! That was terrible special effects there. Mercy. Now this is a wild, drug-induced fight in which there's a struggle with a gun, and you'll notice that when the gun fires here, it's pointed straight at the ground. Okay, like literally pointed straight at the ground, and somehow managed to shoot that gal. Terrible, terrible acting. Here's one of the more famous scenes in the movie.
Give me a smoke, will you?
Play faster. Play faster. Proof that movies don't necessarily have to be good to be remembered. They can be so bad they can be good.
Faster. Faster. Play faster. Faster. Play faster. Faster.
This is, again, a really good example, even though it's a really bad film, it's a really good example of a midnight movie, a cult classic, and an exploitation film. Now watch this. This is just insanity.
I know what you want. You want to kill me.
You're crazy. Take it easy, kid. I just want to talk to you.
Takes a poker and just randomly starts hitting. This is so terrible.
Hurry, hurry. There's a terrible fight going on. Yes?
And
Yes?
the makers of this movie wanted you to see how you'll end up if you try marijuana. So, for this reason, the film is a propaganda film, a very, very bad one. But it is remembered because it is so hokey and over the top. But remember, these are the top values that the production code wanted to promote. They wanted, to promote a certain moral code. So, anyway, just complete and total awfulness. But like the films we saw and we talked about that were made in Nazi Germany, these films were trying to get you to believe or act a certain way, and in this case, they were trying to educate parents not to allow their children to use marijuana. And there it is. I would never make you guys sit through that entire movie. It's just absolutely atrocious. So I hope that you found that interesting. All right. So now if you'll participate with the, well, make sure you've turned in your notes, but also participate on the discussion questions on Reefer Madness. and I hope you guys have a wonderful day.